Hello everyone, Cherry Love live po para sa Balitaang OFW. Hello po sa inyo mga viewers. Mayong hapon, katong mga nasa Dubai o katong mga nasa Pilipinas. Magandang gabi kasi alas 8 na ngayon. Happy weekend to all of you who are here with us. And today is a very special day. Welcome to our newly launched e-program Balitaang OFW. Kauna-unahan po dito sa Cherry Love Live. Ayan. My name is Cherry Love at syempre ang inyong kabalitaan at kahihihaha. So it's gonna be like 1 hour tayo na mag-conversation, kung gusto nyo mag-comments, and kung gusto nyo mag-join together for our guest this afternoon, dito sa Dubai. Actually, we have homies. Tinatawag natin silang homies because they're mommies that are at home right now. So they will be joining me in a few. They're based here in Dubai at syempre isa from United Kingdom sa UK. So what they're going to do with us is they're going to share their real life experience, tips, magbibigay sila mamaya. Let's listen to them. Words of encouragement, lights, insights, and especially they want to like give us direction on how to deal with a real battle being a mom during this COVID season. So anyway, last March 22 po dito sa Dubai, the Ministry of Education initiated po a remote learning program or the e-learning po for all the schools and colleges to ensure the safety ng mga students since the start of the coronavirus spread. So yung pag-uusapan natin ngayon is all about homeschooling versus distance learning. So kung ready na po kayo, you just tuned in to us, then just stay with us until 5 o'clock. So sa tingin nyo ba, meron bang pagkakaiba? Difference po nitong dalawa. Obviously with the COVID-19 pandemic, many things have changed. So sige nga, makibalitaan tayo sa ating mga OFW na nandito with us at Cherry Love, mga 3 homies who are with me. So let's welcome po Homey Reese. Nandito siya ngayon. Pasok! Yay! Hi, Reese!
Good afternoon. Good
Hi,
afternoon,
Ray.
homies.
Kamusta? Okay lang? Okay, by the way, si Reese is actually a working mom with her lovely daughter, age 7. Okay, and we also have like homie Myrene, mama of 2 amazing boys, ages 11 and 4. Hi, Meek. Hi, Myrene. Homie Myrene. Okay, I cannot hear you, but siguro
You're
meron
on
tayong
mute.
mga- Yeah.
Hi, Tita Pai. Sorry, I was on
Hello.
mute.
Hi.
Hi, Tita Pai, aka Cherry Love. How are you?
Yes. Good. Ikaw, kamusta ka, homie? Okay lang?
Okay naman, very well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And we also have like homie Wendy. She's actually having her techie teenager 14-year-old kid. Yay, welcome to the show right now.
Hello, ladies. Good afternoon.
Okay. Weekend mode si mommy, ah.
Yeah,
And we also
it's my
have, like,
weekend.
yeah, we also have like Malu from UK, homie Malu, with her cutie 2 years old daughter. Yan. Okay, so homies, mga homies na guest po natin sa Balitaang OFW. Kamusta po kayo lahat? Okay lang?
We're okay.
Okay, so before we start, kasi para magkaroon tayo ng energy, let's have the breathing exercise. Okay, inhale, exhale muna tayo. Yan, para ma-release yung mga toxic COVID situation at para to ensure everyone, all of us were with us for a smooth and relaxing conversation. So inhale natin yung positivity, exhale natin yung negativity. Are we all ready, homies?
Ready,
Yes,
ready.
we are.
Do it!
Inhale. Exhale. Thank you, mga mommies. So anyway, I think we are all ready. So let's begin. First of all, we want to hear from Homey Reese. Can you please tell us all about this homeschooling?
Okay. Homeschooling. I will say, I mean, two words about homeschooling. It's mainly about intentional parenting. Ito po yung pinaka-essence of homeschooling. So
Mhm.
basically, the type of homeschooling that the general views how homeschooling is right now is actually not the essence of homeschooling, but rather we call it, it's probably lockdown schooling. Pero ang homeschooling talaga is more of intentional parenting where parents have the freedom to actually choose a curriculum on what to teach their kids, or
Mhm.
how they'd like to let their kids learn and experience life through basically learning about the world. So ika nga, it's like in homeschooling, the world is your classroom, kumbaga.
The
In
world
essence.
is your classroom. Okay, so that's how you define homeschooling. Now, for the direct learning naman, anyone from the homies, or maybe can we hear from the UK first? Homie Malu?
I'm not sure kung applicable sa akin, pero right now my daughter is 2 years old. So basically she's enrolled in a nursery, and I'm not really doing homeschooling or direct schooling for her as of the moment since nag-lockdown. But meron lang akong parang guidelines on how to make her day productive.
So guidelines, you have a guidelines or a direction. Is that like considering also like a plan for you to do?
No, not necessarily. It's just really to make my time effective with her. So
Mhm.
parang it's just a schedule for her to do things, like in the morning, breakfast. It's like kind of a routine to keep going, to let her keep going on the day, para hindi
Very
siya
important.
bored, para hindi siya alam mo yung tantrum and all of that stuff. So it's kind of like just a schedule or guidelines for me na if ever she will go back to her nursery, she
Mhm.
won't adjust that much. She will still have her yung the same routine na
Okay.
she's doing in the nursery.
Okay, so in other words, you have a house calendar for her or house
Mhm.
guidelines.
Yeah.
Okay, we'd like to hear from Homie Myrene, who is here in Dubai as well. Thank you for that, Homie
I
Malu.
think I think Tita Pai will have to pass that to Mom. She wins. Maybe she
Okay.
has regarding
Yeah,
distance
actually,
learning.
it's very true that you can also direct me because this is actually one way or another learning what you guys are experiencing right now
Yeah.
amidst of the
I
COVID
can tell
19
you about the challenges,
situation.
my God, a lot of challenges, but the
Okay,
description
so
or
siguro
whatever,
the
a
next
brief,
question can I go ahead? Yes,
go ahead.
Homie Wendy.
Okay, so distance learning, it's basically learning, it's structured learning from the school, but done in the house. It's structured such that they do keep to a schedule. The school is sent to us every week, and they do have teachers who do live sessions as well as recorded sessions. But their day is very structured, right? They start at 8:30 and they end at 2. So it's still pretty regular classes.
Oh,
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
that yun pala yung yung difference kasi I don't
Yeah.
even know that's the distance learning. Kasi it's not
That-
applicable to Tirza. I don't have that parang
Distance learning.
plan from the school for me
yes.
to give it to her. So okay, that's good to know.
Actually, yeah, actually,
Mhm.
what you are doing is already somehow
Homeschooling.
homeschooling. Yeah, because
Yeah.
you have the freedom to choose what you'd like to feed to Terza and do your own schedule. Whereas yung distance learning, it's more of there is a curriculum, there is a
Yes.
teacher from a distance, and then all you have to do as a mom is to like follow up after that, whatever self work or homeworks they have to do.
All right.
Yeah, that's true.
All
So that
right.
every subject is actually scheduled within a week. So
Mhm.
in any day, they have particular subjects that they need to attend to. It's not the same schedule every day. Of
Mhm.
course, there's a variety para hindi siguro ma-bored or
Is that the distance
yeah,
learning that we're talking about, Homie Wendy?
that is distance learning. Yes,
Yeah,
that is
because
distance learning.
we just had
practically
like
going to
go ahead.
school online.
Okay, practically not going to school online. It's what we are learning right now for social distancing. So the word distancing, learning only for like students, correct?
But I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
What's the difference between homeschooling and distance learning?
Can
Okay.
anyone
I
just
would like to address that since I'm the one who experienced both actually, because Jewel, she was in school for 2 years in the Philippines, and then when she came to Dubai, we opted, or we didn't have a choice but to homeschool her. So ang difference basically is ang distance learning is there is a standard curriculum that's set by, for example, an institution, whereas ang homeschooling is that I have the freedom to choose, for example, a curriculum that I would like to use. So I still have a guideline, but in terms of resources that I can use, I'm more free to basically use any resources. So they actually call it in homeschooling, like kami, we are applying eclectic homeschooling, wherein we use different types of methods and different types of techniques. So basically, we use e-learning, the technology, we use online classes also. So kumbaga, we have more freedom, and our day is still structured, but the difference is that kami mismo ang parents ang gumagawa ng curriculum nila.
That's homeschooling. That's
That is
homeschooling.
homeschooling, yeah.
When did you start doing
Yeah.
that? I mean, like, okay, when did you start doing the homeschool? How long did it take already? Before
We,
COVID?
we started homeschooling in June. Technically, our family is a newbie homeschooler. When you say newbie, first year pa lang namin. So we discovered so many things along the way. Like from the beginning, we were not ready to do it because it's scary. It's like, can we do it? We're both working from home. I mean, we're both full-time workers. How can we do it? How do we manage our time? Things like that. The good thing is that I think these days there's a plethora of resources you can find online, and you can have supplemental classes. You can hire tutors, you can enroll her into different classes and all that. Whereas distance learning, you still have the choice and the freedom to do that after the given time na kumbaga yung 8 sinabi ni Mami Wendy na from 8:30 to 2 the child has to be immersed into the distance learning, that only after 2 that he can do extra stuff or assignments or anything. I'm not sure if I understand it right. Tama ba, Mami Wens?
They do get homeworks, and they do get practice worksheets. Some of those they do during class. Some of those they do as homework. It's to supplement the live sessions, because at any session, not every student can speak. Imagine doing a live session for 30 students. So it's not the same as when they're actually in the classroom. The interaction won't be the same. My son, for example, prefers to just listen. Yeah.
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 Yes, as opposed to, I guess, there are students who are still very proactive and actively joining the discussion with the teacher. But then, from my experience, a lot of his classmates, for example, are just I don't want to say they're just in the background, but they prefer they prefer to, I guess, listen than talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the teacher cannot force that. I mean, although the teachers will call some of them just to put them on the spot so they could speak, but then the teacher will not be able to call everybody, right?
Mommy Wendy, I have a question.
Yes.
Is this distance learning an ongoing program from the school, or it's a pre-COVID implementation?
Actually, it's a COVID thing. It's COVID, and amazingly, the schools have adapted to it quite well, to be honest. Such that when the time when the kids were ready to go back to school after it was spring break, I believe.
Yeah.
By the time they went back, the facilities, the infrastructure was already there, so that they had to go online. There was a slight, adjustments and logging in, getting into your accounts, going to your lessons and your classes and your schedule, but it was there, and technology, thank God, was able to support it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there were no hiccups at all.
Wow.
How about you, homie Myrene? As homie Wendy was sharing about how she coped with this distance learning. So it's like what we heard from her. It's really like challenging as well.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
for the record, my son is already 14, so he's in year 9. So he might
Yeah.
not need the same supervision that the smaller kids would need. Yeah. So I
Good
only
point.
I only supplement his learning when he needs my assistance.
Supervision, yeah.
Yes. As opposed to the smaller kids, when you do need to supervise them, I suppose. I mean, I can only imagine the year 1s, year 2s
Yes.
doing distance learning.
It-
I mean, right? I mean,
Yeah,
the parents would have to sit with them the whole time.
Yeah. And it's
Yes.
quite challenging,
Yeah.
to nag your kids and hey, just sit, listen to your class and do your homework. So it's quite challenging for
Describe
working
to us,
moms.
homie Myrene, your day-to-day being a homie, especially with this COVID situation. Let us know
You know,
about it.
Tita Pai, I would just would like to say that you know, I'm actually shy. This is my alter ego out there, and I'm just forced to.
Yeah.
But because this is a very interesting topic too, so okay, I might as well join. And I was actually looking forward to this one also. But
Yeah.
yes, as I was saying, it was very challenging for us. Like I think it started a month ago,
We're over
15th
a
of
month.
March
Yeah.
or over a month. Yes, it was challenging for working, especially for me, working
Yeah.
mom. And I think I'm speaking on behalf or in behalf of all the working moms out there. That's why I joined too, because I want to learn tips. I want to learn wows and best practices from those moms who have already figured it out. 'Cause for me, I'm still in limbo. I'm still struggling right now, managing work, managing the household at the same time, managing homeworks and doing activities for school. So yes, it was challenging. That's all I can say. But it takes, well, for me, because I have my husband with me also. So it's not just for the moms, but it takes a whole family to help. So it's not just the moms out there, but the dads also should take responsibility. And I'm actually very lucky because my better half Carlos is very
Hands on.
he's
Yeah.
very hands-on and yes, and very supportive, especially with maths and sciences and other projects. For Filipinos, it is a struggle because as I'm sure you all know that we moved Johan to a Filipino school this year, and he doesn't know Filipino, he doesn't know Araling Panlipunan
Yeah.
nor Filipino subject. So it's a struggle. We have to open Google Translate whenever we do homeworks. Imagine we have to type everything in Google Translate
Yeah.
so we can get to understand what the Filipino was about or how he can structure sentences in Filipino. So yes,
Yeah, I think it's a common struggle for everyone, especially us who's, our vernacular is
yeah.
Bisaya. I know all of us can
But
relate to that.
no, in the Philippines, I heard they have mother tongue.
Yeah.
So
Which is
even more.
more
They
difficult.
introduced
Yes.
that. Yeah.
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 They introduced that. Oh my
So
God.
Filipino is already a struggle. Mother tongue all the more.
So
So
any more struggles, guys? Go ahead, homies. Labas nyo na ngayon. This is your chance.
no, I think this is a very good avenue for moms out there who's watching. They get to learn what homeschooling is, what distance learning is. Because I think going forward, there's no going back to normal. There will be a new normal. I don't know how the schools will manage it, if there will be a 25 packs in a classroom or maybe half of it or distance learning. We don't really know. But I'm
Yeah.
just so glad that the school year will end when in a week's time or two, and then we're off, and then we'll just figure it out the next school year. But I'm just looking forward for the end of the school year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we have the whole summer months to figure
Yes,
it out.
to
And,
figure
and,
it out.
and to be honest, this distance learning thing, you figure it out each day. That's just it. There's no, I don't think there's a way of 100% figuring it out. I mean,
Yeah, I think so too.
yeah, you cannot
Whether
perfect.
you're, yeah. So whether you're homeschooling or distance learning,
But no, Reese, I just would like to say kudos because homeschooling, I think it take a superwoman. So kudos to you, grabe.
No, actually, I think I mean a lot of people have a misconception about homeschooling, and that's the reason why I mean in general, a lot of people are scared to go into that path. But like for us, when we decided to homeschool, it was by accident and at the same time choice, because we didn't have a choice and not a choice, but rather, but it's like as when we started homeschooling, my idea actually is to put a traditional classroom into our homes. But as we went along with the process, you learn that homeschooling is not about putting a traditional classroom in your homes, or applying the same principles as what kids learn in regular school. So like I wasn't like I didn't graduate with an education degree, so it's like, am I ready for this? So that's when you started that you as parents, you start to learn things like I now learn how my daughter's learning style is, that she's an auditory learner. I didn't know that. And then later on, I discovered that I am also an auditory learner. So it works well for both of us, because we learn well if we hear something, or so things like that I didn't know before when I wasn't homeschooling. So it's like, I don't know, like when I started homeschooling, I wasn't that much of an advocate, but maybe now I can say that I am advocating, especially during these times, because there's so much you can do. Although it's not for all the families, because we all have our struggles, we all have our challenges at home. But then again, there's a lot of generous homeschooling moms who are willing to share and give their share their experiences, and lots of pages, helpful pages, that I think even moms who are into distance learning now can learn from. It's like, especially for young kids, as what Ati Wendy said, like for like teenagers, they have their way of learning now, so it's less supervision. But for younger kids, maybe 12 and below, that's gonna be a challenge. So like in homeschooling. Yes.
But I have a question.
So,
See,
oh yeah.
go ahead.
I
think we have the same question.
I was just gonna ask. I know that Reese is a working mom on a full day job, has a regular day job. So how much time do you spend with school on her studies on a daily basis?
Right.
I mean,
for primary years, actually, ideally you spend an hour only in a day. Yes, because I realized, I'll just give an example. In homeschooling, actually, since you have the freedom to discuss the lessons or to plan the curriculum, you can discuss 3 subjects, core subjects, in one seating. So, for example, we tackle Bible, science, and health. We talk about the story of, let's say, the Great Flood, Noah's Ark. So after that Bible, we cover about flood, what causes flood, right? And then after that, we discuss about what are the things we should do to prevent flood. So that's already discussing science, importance of planting, things like that. So it's like you teach the subjects in a way that it relates to the history, the present in the world, and what can we do to basically help the future. That's what I like about it. So it's like integrating all subjects in one seating, which you can do in 1 hour, actually.
And you don't need a lot of topics, actually, because you're already concentrated in one topic, but you can cover everything. Yeah,
exactly. So in that same example, we also tackled the water cycle. And then when you boil water, you just suddenly, all of a sudden, from the house, you call her and it's like, hey, Jewel, look at this. This is evaporation. So that's already teaching her. It's real life applications.
Reese, I have a question.
So what about? Sorry, I keep
so many questions. No, I have a question. Is this Philippine curriculum?
Yes.
Homeschool learn? Okay. And do they set out guidelines? I mean, how do you teach them? Is there like a guideline or a curriculum that you follow day by day? Like
Yeah.
a syllabus?
Yeah. So basically, in homeschooling, you have, first of all, the option to choose American or Philippine curriculum. In our case, we choose DepEd curriculum. So the first thing we did is we downloaded the DepEd curriculum available online, and you will see there what are the key competencies that you need to teach for a first grader, for example. What are the things that they should learn after they finish year one or grade one? On top of that, in homeschooling, you have an option to be an independent homeschooler, or you choose a provider. So in our case, it's our first time, so we opted to go with a provider. So once you have a provider, they would actually provide you, for example, a list of books, recommended books that you have to source. Plus, you have to do a lot of online research. And it really helps if you also connect with other homeschooling families, because if they have done that, they probably would be the best, families to give you resources, or tell you how to do things from there. So
And
Do you
what
have
about
any particular website, homie Reese, that you can share, just in case we have mommies right now who doesn't know anything about this? Maybe with the website that you're using, can be an inspiration and a great tool for them to use it.
yes, I particularly follow a page, I Homeschool. It's
Yeah.
actually by the wife of Chinkitan. They
Mhm.
are homeschooling, and recently, I mean, during the lockdown, they've done lots of videos, FAQs about homeschooling, and and some even discussions with veteran homeschoolers, like Team Kramer, Cheska,
Mhm.
and the family. They are actually homeschooling their kids. And then this Joy Tanchi from our provider, which is Homeschool Global, they also did a talk. So that's where I get inspiration. That's where I get to know techniques and methods by attending those kinds of webinars about homeschooling. It's really amazing. Like, I couldn't
Great.
imagine actually becoming an advocate, because at first I believe in sending kids to school, because it's
Mhm.
still different when when they let's say deal with other kids. But during COVID times, it totally shifted my perception. It's like I
Mhm.
have the advantage.
Yeah.
I've homeschooled for a year, so I have, it's like, and
You have
yeah, it's,
adjusted already.
yeah, but it takes a lot of commitment, really. It's not
yeah.
sacrifice, but it's commitment.
It does.
Mhm.
And what about the assessment? Is there some sort of an assessment, like a benchmark that they would need to follow, they would need to reach, or a milestone? How is the assessment like? I mean, how are they
Sorry.
being?
Sorry,
Yeah,
Reese. We have to bombard you with questions.
yeah, no
Yeah, because
problem,
there's
no
some of
problem.
us, I think, using the method of direct learning, homeschooling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yes.
so we need a lot of inputs from you, itong mga homies po natin, who are our guests and
Mhm.
also who are our viewers as well. So go ahead. You have like 2 minutes to say a few of your methods and techniques, whatever. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, is there an assessment or a bench? I mean, how do you gauge? I'm not saying that they're learning less. I mean, how do you gauge that they are, in that level, in a particular level? Is there an assessment at the end, or how does that go? What about when they go to uni? I mean,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. At this stage, I don't think there's things like NSATs or like that in the Philippines. But
yeah, I
in
GCSEs and A level.
in yeah, in our current grade, since we have a provider, what we do, there's a set of requirements. For example, that in each subject you should administer, let's say, one long quarter quiz, and then five self works, one project. So there are a set of requirements that you have to comply with. And then by the end of each quarter, we do portfolio reviews. This is where a teacher would intervene, or basically your child would get the opportunity to present what she learned in that quarter. So what we're doing, for example, is that we highlight on the strengths, because 30% of the child's grade would come from that portfolio review. So in every quarter, we prepare a PowerPoint presentation summarizing all subjects, for example, and then my daughter gets to present it in front of the teacher. And in that case, the last portfolio review, we did it online. So they talk about, for example, matter, solid, liquid, and gas, and application. I mean, what are the dangerous liquids, dangerous gas, things like that. And the teacher from the other side would then gauge if your daughter really understood the lesson. So may mga ganyang bagay. So it's not just no, like parang that's how we grade. But of course, I think as parents, you have the tendency also when you grade your child, you have the tendency, I don't know how, for us kasi we have the tendency to actually give her lower grades because we expect much from her. And
Yeah.
Our learning advisor would always tell us that you should be somehow understand the pace of your child and how she learns. And it's, I mean, at the end of the day, they say it's not about the grades, but how the lesson was understood by the learner. So, yun.
But really, I have a question. You would not have that
Okay.
Sorry, okay. Okay, I have 2-year-old here. She wanted to close my eyes. All right. Give it to me.
She's the boss, not you.
And thank you. So I have a question. Would it be like parang you will have an unconscious bias because that's your daughter, right? That's your kid that you're teaching. And when you want to grade her or him, then you would feel like, if I'll grade her with this, then yeah, parang, so it might be like, there will be like some kind of unconscious bias from your end because you're the mom, and then you grade her or him, and then yeah. So how do you feel about, what's your take about that? Does it happen to you now? You tend to like, oh, I'll grade her with more because she's my, and all of that stuff.
It actually happens. It happens. So it could happen both ways. It's either you give her lower grade because you expect much from her, or you give her a higher grade because you're a bit of an understanding parent and you want to give her these marks and all that. But actually, the essence about the learning or homeschooling is actually, it's always emphasized that at the end of the day, it's not the grades, but how the child understood the lesson. At the same time, the relationship with your child. So it happens a lot of times, and that's the reason why with our provider, we do portfolio review, so that 30% of that grade would come from them and not from you. So that is a more objective, let's say, way of evaluating if your child indeed learned from you. But really, it's a relationship and the journey back, kumbaga, the journey with you and the child throughout the learning. And at the same time, kasi each family is unique, so you have your own pace. And like I say, if you put your child in a traditional school, the child has to cope with the lessons, diba, na binibigay ng teachers. So, kasi in some cases, for example, in our case, Jewel also does not like Filipino that much. She finds it really difficult. Sometimes she even cries. So, I'm not pushing her so much on Filipino and even maths because it's a bit of a challenge for her. But then again, parang hinay-hinay lang, slowly until she gets to, like, you explain to her that the rationale behind, why you are learning maths. Because, for example, if I cook, I need to understand why I need to add 1 cup of sugar, 2 cups of flour when I bake. Things like that. This is the reason why addition is important for you to learn. And for example, in Filipino, we always tell her that it's important for you because you're Filipinos, and when you go to places where people speak Tagalog, at least you understand. Things like that.
There's a balance of everything that you're doing. So, so lahat ng mga viewers po natin who just actually are with us, welcome to the Balitaang OFW. Sorry to cut off. Painit na yung discussion natin. We're talking about homeschooling versus distance learning. So we've just heard more of the homeschooling from Homey Reese, who is based here in Dubai. with her daughter, 7-year-old. Now, this time naman, for our three, we are actually doing the distance learning because of the COVID situation right now. Let us hear from you kung ano yung mga struggles with your kids. Can we start from Mommy Wendy? Homey Mommy Wendy?
Struggles. I think the number one struggle, and I'm sure a lot of working moms out there share this, it's balancing between work and then the studies. Because for my son, even though he's already in year 9, he still does need help with some work, maths, English, science. So I do still need to attend to him, albeit not as long as probably when you have younger kids. So I guess that's the main struggle there. Although it's not a struggle in the beginning, it just needed some adapting, I suppose. You just need to get into a routine, and you just need to make him understand that there are times when mommy needs to work, and I will help you out. And he does understand it. He does ask me, "Do you have a minute? Can you help me?"
Okay, that's good.
So yeah,
That's good.
I think that's how you adjust. That's how you deal with it.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that, Homie Wendy. Now we go to Homie Myrene, because you have 11 years old and 4 years old. So may balance ba rin, the same as Homie Wendy?
Walang balance, Tita Pai.
It's not like a smooth struggle or struggle that is so real.
Struggle to the highest level.
Yeah, it's better, yes. Because the lines, sometimes some days the lines are blurred between working and then the distance learning bit. Because it's hard to say no when your son asks you for help.
Mm-hmm. No, I think one of the issues is time management. For me, maybe I'm not good with time management, or I'm still adapting to this whole new distance learning thing. So I'm still struggling. Yes, I am very honest, because I joined to learn from Momies, So yes, time management is really hard, especially if you are tied up with work, and if your work is very demanding also. So but I think the pros also with this distance learning is that you have more time with the kids. I mean, you can spend lunch with the kids. You can take breaks in between and spend time with the kids. And at the same time, you're more, what do you call that one? More involved also. So the strengths and the weaknesses of your child, because you're there, and then, they ask you questions. So I think that's one of the pros. But going back to the disadvantages, yes, time management is a bit of a struggle right now. Plus, I think mental health also, we have to check mental health. We have to know when to stop, when to pause, when things become so overwhelming. Like for me at the beginning, second week of March, I think, when this whole distance learning started, and I have this work from home also, and this whole COVID pandemic news. So, it was so overwhelming, and I felt like I was so stressed out. So I said, I'll just have to stop and pause and take a break. So I took a couple of days off from work, because if I continue, I will collapse. So, and it's important also for us to check on other moms out there, friends or co-mommies out there. Just check them out. Pause and, send them a message over Skype or Messenger, maybe, just to check them out if they're okay, if they're stressed out. I have friends also who are scared that they might be COVID positive. So that's an additional stress. So in these unprecedented times.
That is so true. That is so true. Because a lot of moms out there feel a certain amount of anxiety, because they're working from home. They're at the back of your mind, there's this notion that, what are they thinking in the office? I'm working from home. I might be, binge watching Netflix or just lounging here working. So there's also that anxiety. So you are pressured to do your work.
Yes.
You are pressured to assist with the homeschooling. You're pressured to make snacks, to bake.
I love the snacks part.
In the middle of your work. It's not in the middle of the pandemic, in the middle of your work.
There's so much. And like what Mick said, the quality time that we're having right now, no doubt, it's really great. It's the one good thing that's coming out of this. because
Yes.
we're spending a lot more quality time. And even if it's just over homework or even if it's over the online quiz, it's still time bonding with
Yes.
your child.
Thank you so
Right?
much for that. And what about you, homey Malu? You're from UK and you have a 2-year-old kid. So, like, you're working from home over a
Yeah.
month already. Yeah. So,
Yeah, I think
how
it's
do you
the
manage?
same. I think it's the same with Mommy Wendy and Mommy Myrene because for me, I mean, I have 2 years old daughter, and she's 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 kind of at the stage of like she wants everything by her in her own ways. So she
Yeah.
wants attention. She's very needy. She doesn't understand that she doesn't understand that actually I need to work and I need to be on my laptop and I have to call people because this is my work, and if I don't do this I won't be able to provide her. So she doesn't understand that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
it's challenging, but at the same time you just have to really like breathe in and breathe out and try
Yeah.
to tell her like, do you want toys, do you want food, and I need to have my time for now, and then you can do your thing. But it doesn't happen all the time. You have to be with her. So but for me it's just really to keep my to have my mindset that what's happening around is actually a positive thing for us as well, to try to think about of the things that we have neglected and we need to actually take 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 action. So like as you said, lunch with your kids, lunch with your husband, because you all the time work together and you don't have the time. And then it's a family time. But the thing is, you just have to really keep track of the routine that you have to do, because if you are just like you're working from home, you don't need to get dressed, and then you don't need to wake up early, and you forget that an hour preparation to go to work. Then the next time that this situation will come in,
You
parang
will get used to it. Yeah.
babalik in the normal life, then you need to adjust again. So for me,
Yes.
the thing for me is not to really give in to all the time that we have, but instead, I keep track of what I was doing before. I keep continuing doing that at the same time. Para by at the end of the day, I would not have big adjustment to do.
Yes.
We go
Very
back
true.
to normal.
Very
Yes,
true.
that
As
is
if
so
nothing
true.
happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you for that. And we have like a follow-up question for Homey Reese. Yeah, you're doing the homeschooling. So do you think that because you're already doing homeschooling, it was easy for you to adjust, balance working from home and doing homeschooling as well? What do you think?
Um, in all honesty, it wasn't as easy as I thought it would be. I thought it from the beginning, it's like, oh, okay, I have the advantage, but it's still challenging managing your time, doing the house. I mean, looking after the household and the kid and work, because like so many times she would just
The
pop in.
husband
I'm
too.
in the middle of a video call, and then she would just pop in and say hi to my colleagues. It's like, oh my God, I'm busy. I'm busy.
To all of us, Reed.
Exactly. Yeah. The only thing that I think I liked about having homeschooled already is because we have already gotten into that routine, that we have to find time to sit and do our lessons. That's the only thing. But other than that, like, the whole day is still a mess. It's still a total mess. It's like you have to, when she wakes up, you have to prepare for breakfast, and after that you have to find something for her to do, and then after that it just continues. It never stops. So it's still very, very challenging, whether homeschooling, distance learning, or it's still very challenging.
Reese, I have a follow-up question.
Go on,
Reese,
Myron. Go ahead.
so many questions, right? But Reese, I have a question. Say, Jewel is 7,
Yes.
6, 7,
7.
right? So for higher level, say grade 7 homeschooling, do you think that would be difficult and challenging? If of course you have to incorporate chemistry and physics and those hard subjects. So how do you think that would be for higher levels of homeschooling?
I it will be difficult. It will be very difficult, especially from. I mean, we are not chemistry majors. I don't even know the periodic table of elements already, but I think for now, I mean, I can say that at present, I can look at homeschooling probably my daughter until she finishes what's grade 6. That's year
Yeah.
Years
before
six,
high
Six.
school.
Yeah.
That's where I see her. Because I'm getting so much inspiration. Maybe it's just because of COVID and we are on lockdown. But for now, this is what I can say. I don't know. It can change. But at this stage, I will probably do homeschooling as you know as soon. I mean, as if
As
it's
much as
possible, yeah, as much as we can.
Later
But
you can.
at a later stage, we always have the option to hire tutors who can do that for her. And yeah, but who knows? I don't know. I don't know, to be honest, what we're gonna do.
but
after
how are the
this.
fees? How the difference in the fees? Do you have any idea from the traditional school to that of homeschooling?
Yes, the fees. This is the best thing about homeschooling. Actually, it's probably not even half of what you're paying for in traditional school in Dubai.
Oh,
Let's
really?
say, yeah. So most of the homeschoolers invest highly on books and curriculums that we buy all the way from the US. Fees would range from, let's say, around 6,000 dirhams
For the full year.
for the whole year, and then you get 4 quarterly reviews, and then yeah, and then you just have to source out your books. So we invest in books and other things, and so that's the reason why we have the freedom to enroll her to other
Yes. After school
supplemental classes.
activities, yeah.
You have, yeah. So that's another thing.
Okay. Any more questions just before we proceed? We have covered so much with the struggles, distance learning, homeschooling, also like struggles and stress and challenges being an overwhelmed mom with this COVID-19 or before COVID-19 happens. What did you do to keep your focus, mga mommies, and to keep yourself not insane, but sane? Okay, it's time right now to wrap up. Share your individual tips para po sa mga mommies out there who would love to learn and hear from your experience based from the UK and based here in Dubai. Because I know that there are a lot of mommies right now. Maybe they're watching and can also be a good tip from you, mommies. Go ahead. We'll start from Reese, homie Reese.
Roll call.
Me first. I did try to write something
Tapos
earlier.
na tayo sa UK, diba? So let's start here from the base. It's all about the base.
I think the mummies covered it a little bit earlier. For me, I wrote something that you just have to live each day, one day at a time. We are all experiencing the same struggle, I think, in a way. So, like for us, the first 2 weeks was really tough, and now after we have adjusted somehow, we get to realize that okay, I just have to live each day, and then let's see what happens tomorrow. We have anxieties, we fear for what's to come or what's the future, but God
One
is a
day
good
at a time.
provider, and we have friends around us. So just live each day one day at a time and enjoy the moment.
Enjoy the moment.
When we go back to work, it's not gonna be the same.
Thank you, homie Reese. And what about you, homie Myrene?
I would like to echo what I said earlier on. It's just, I want to touch on mental health. So if you're just stressed out, you feel overwhelmed, just pause, just stop and pause and take care of yourself. Maybe go to the bathroom. This is luxury for moms now. You just spend time at the bathroom, a good old 30 minutes or an hour, or just listen to music, watch K-drama maybe. So yes, just take care of your mental health, learn when to stop, learn to pause, and then always look at the bright side as well. Like for me, I feel grateful, being able to work from home, being able to get salary, at the same time spend time with the kids and the family. So that is the good coming out of this whole pandemic thing. So yes, that's my 2 cents.
Thank you very much. More of concern in terms of health, mental health. Just leave, pause, and look on the bright side. Okay. Thank you so much, homie mommy Myrene. And to you, homie Malu. from UK?
If both of you with your partners are working from home too, it's important as well that you take turns in watching the kid, especially if one of you has a lot of meetings. But I'm sure there's no like there would be a time na one day both of you have meetings, but it's important na you can actually take turns of what is important and what is not important with your work and to take care of your child. So that's basically just trying to balance your work while having your kid at home.
Balance is very important, especially taking turns with a hobby. So very good insight and very nice tip. What about you, homie Mandy? Go ahead.
Okay. On the work front, I think it's good to establish a routine to keep to your sort of office hours. Like you wake up each day, you dress up for work, take a shower, dress up for work. You don't have to pull out the suits and the jackets, but it helps. And that I guess a splash of cold water will wake you up. And then on the homeschooling side, on the distance learning side, I told Myrene this a few days ago. Nagging does not help, although it feels so good to nag.
What's that?
It feels so good to nag, but I find that it doesn't work as well as we want it, because I think when you nag, it sort of sends a message that you don't trust them to do what's expected of them. Well, I have a teenager, so I have a higher expectation of him now, but I'm trying to minimize on the nagging. I'm trying to let him feel that I trust his judgment. I trust him to do what's right, to know what his responsibilities are, his obligations are school-wise. So I'm nagging a little less now, I think. I would like to believe. Although if you ask my son, he could tell you otherwise, but
I think so too.
But I try. And then, okay, what else? I would like to echo the mental health message that Myrene has said, because it is very important. And I think we as moms should just be a little more kind to ourselves.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of, because sometimes we expect too much of ourselves. We want to do more. It's just what being a mom is. You want to do more, you want to do everything. But we do deserve the littlest kindness that even, coming from ourselves. And that's by taking a break.
We deserve to watch K-dramas.
Yes.
So avoid nagging or minimize nagging, not avoid nagging. Minimize nagging.
It will not be easy. It will not be easy, but it does work wonders. Number one, you fight less. So he's more receptive of you. And then be thankful for the quality time, the amount of quality time that you're spending with your family, with your children, with your child, with your daughter, because it is a treasure. I mean, when you think about it, you've been working for how many years? And that's like
true.
a big chunk of your time in the office. Not so much time, with the family, with the kids. So this is actually, I mean, I know it's a bad
Blessing in disguise.
yeah, it's tricky. It's really tricky. I know it's a bad time because of what's happening out there, but when life hands you lemons, you make lemonade.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
With lots of sugar.
To the mommies out there. So upon hearing from all of your tips or words of wisdom, here's our last question, because we only have like 7 more minutes, but we can extend, but not too long. Do you think you will be open, homies, to opening your child to homeschool, especially with the savings right now? Like everyone is in tight budget, okay? And advantages that Reese mentioned earlier as well as homeschooling. Why and why not?
I think this is pretty much of a schooling already. But I received a circular, Tita Pai, that I don't think we can discuss right now. I'm going to show you a circular from, I think it's from Abu Dhabi. And I don't want to expand on it right now. Maybe if we have another session. Another session. No, I'm going to send it to you over WhatsApp. So, yeah.
Yeah, it would be good also to share that, but let's actually like do a review, send or
Yeah.
PM to me, and we'll do the sharing maybe in our next session, like what you said. Why not?
Why not?
Well, from my
So
side, actually, about that question, I don't think it's applicable. Okay, it's kind of like too early for me, and I think Teresa right now needs to have her foundation in terms of having her learnings in a structured way, and at the same time, since wala kaming extra help, extra hand in the house, we are both working. Then we don't really have any other choice but to put her in the nursery and do our 9 to 5 job, and then yeah, keep going with it. But yeah, homeschooling is actually very interesting. If you
yes.
can save that much, then why not? But I think in the long run, if I would choose that, then probably I would not be working, but I would rather be hands on of what I'm gonna be doing with my kid.
No, I think
Right.
for primary years, homeschool would be, an advantage because you get to see your child, when they grow at home. On the higher level, that I'm a little adamant because Johan is already 11 now, turning 12, and he's already grade 6 and will be grade 7 next. So right now, the maths is a struggle for me. Well, good thing that Carlos is there, so the maths, the
Hindi siya
science,
madala
and
og mata-mata, Mami
magtigil siya
Marlene.
mata-mata. Tita Pai. So yes, for younger kids, I think homeschooling is good. Like for Jewel, you'd be hands on, and you get to see your child, you get to know her strengths and her weaknesses. So yes, but for higher level, I don't know. We have to assess. I mean, Carlos and I would have to assess. But right now, this is pretty much like I said, a homeschooling experience.
Thank you for that.
Unless if we can afford to get a tutor, for the chemistry and the physics and all. I'm really concerned about the chemistry and the physics. Anyway.
Yeah, well, my son has chemistry and physics and biology and algebra, I think.
Mm.
Yeah, so homeschooling for me at this stage, right now, I am so happy that the teachers are there to teach him these things. And then I only have to supplement, and I still do need to learn again when we
Yes.
do the assignments. Thank God for Google. Can you imagine if we only could go back to the books? Oh my God. So thank
Yeah.
God for the learning YouTubes, which has helped a lot
True.
with finding the equation of the line that's perpendicular to line, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, those sort of things. So homeschooling for me at this level, I don't think it is ideal in our situation. I'm not trying to say that I don't want to spend that much time with my son, but what I'm saying is the teachers, well, teachers are there for chemistry, physics.
There's a good reason why you're paying, what you're paying for his tuition.
Yeah.
I mean,
Only
in all,
the teachers.
in all honesty,
At the end of the day, you're still paying, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so wow, what a wonderful, inspirational conversation we had for our first ever launching of the Balitaang OFW with our homies. Thank you so much for your time. Four wonderful mommies, brave, strong, and able to, surpass over a month of doing homeschool and direct learning. Not because of COVID, but of course, it's just being adaptable to whatever the circumstances. So it just goes to show that you mommies are really prepared mentally and also heartfully. So thank you very much. One quick message. Because it's Mother's Day tomorrow. Happy Mother's Day!
Thank
Yes.
you.
Oh, this is perfect. This is a perfect launching. I didn't realize. I just realized like 5 minutes before, we go live. So maybe you have parents watching with us in the Philippines. You can greet them. I mean, for me, I have my mom, but my biological mom is already up in heaven. So I really love her, and happy Mom's Day to you in heaven. So you can also go ahead and share your greetings or to anyone. But for all of you, happy Mother's Day.
Happy
Thank
Mother's
you.
Day.
Mother's Day.
Any message, like maybe Irene can say a message to her mom.
Yeah.
Read, go ahead.
Hey, so happy Mother's Day to my mom and Virgie and my mom-in-law and also my
Mhm.
friends out there who are momshies. So happy Mother's Day to everyone. But it's not just the Mother's Day. You have to enjoy every day. So happy Mother's Day.
Maybe you have something to promote as well. Your business. This is your chance.
What?
What you're doing right now.
No, my mom
What
has
are you
a cake
doing?
shop in Iligan City, so maybe you can. But right now they're closed because of the whole COVID situation. But you can place orders online to their web Facebook page. That's Hans Arts of Cakes. So they still do accept orders online.
What's his name? Hans.
Hans,
Hans.
yes,
And art of
Hans.
cake.
Arts of
Hanz.
Cakes.
You can also
Mhm.
like search on Facebook. Everyone, I
Yes.
think. Yeah. Okay. Next. Anything? I mean, any message for anyone? No more?
So be kind to yourselves, mummies. That's all.
Be kind. Kindness is very
To
important.
yourself.
Self-love.
Yeah.
Yes. Self-love. Self-love.
Self-love.
And mental
Okay.
health. Yeah.
Okay, that's a wrap. Thank you for your time again. Great to hear from you. Keep going, mommies, and keep safe. This is what we always hear read on the news and online. But we have to really be safe at all times and stay well. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you the next session.
Stay safe.
No,
Happy Mother's
huh?
Day.
Wave,
Mother's
wave
Day.
like
Bye,
Drama.
everyone.
Assign director and directress.
Where's the director?
right now. Well, Alice, where are you?
Pasok.
Show yourself.
Next session about okay, next session.
Bye.
Well then, everyone.
Bye,
Thank you.
everyone. Happy Mother's Day.
Mother's Day to all.